because it's less meaty doesn't mean it's not meaty. Like, there's a range for meat, right? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Client's still loading. Client's still loading. It took a second to try and close out a bunch of windows to get it to actually pull up. My bad. But we're coming in today. It's Sunday. It's review day. So we're going to be talking about a lot of game reviews, and hopefully we're going to see some sweet plays. If we get any, feel free to clip them. I will absolutely clip them if I'm able to, and then we'll get them up as highlights, because I think people enjoy seeing some of these sweet plays that are coming through. But cough while the intro starts. I mean, it is what it is. I tend to cut that. I have the intro, the same intro that I use for the stream, I use for the YouTube videos, but I put the actual thing in. When I cut the YouTube videos, that's part of the editing, is like I cut out the countdown and the outro and stuff like that, stuff like all the things that people don't care about. Have I been able to get any value from Leprechaun? I've literally only used it once, dogewhal, and that was strictly because the game was already over, I think. I don't really remember, but short answer is no. I would like to use it more. The scenario, and I think Ando was the one who pointed this out, is that I think the appropriate scenario is against Heartbreaker. Leprechaun, where are you? The problem is that it just resets the cooldown timer. So, like, we were observing a game, I think one of the BRB screen games, where somebody was using it against a tractor, and it's like, okay. I mean, that's fine. I want Speed Alien Engineer Brony with Firkin. See, like, that's reasonable, though. You can Firkin a Brony because it sets it back 4 turns. Like, that's a long time. If you do that to a tractor, it's like, okay, not next turn, but the turn after, they're just, well, the tractor's not here because I gotta look at the album. Like, okay, they can just yoink everything shortly thereafter. Now, I'm sure there will be scenarios where, say it's a small map and you can hit the attractor pretty quickly. There will be some oddball scenario where you can Firkin a tractor and then it buys you the time you need. That's going to be super hard to engineer because I think it's A, going to require a small map because of the one movement, and B, that means that a tractor can, of course, yoink things more easily. I don't know. If for one turn cooldown ability would be a 2-turn cooldown, yeah, it resets it, but still, it's like, it's not that long, comparatively. I think that's still longer than the actual Leprechaun ability. Yeah, Leprechaun's 3. So it gets turned off, and it buys you time, but I don't know if it's enough time. I don't know if it's enough time. Especially given the power level of, say, a tractor. I mean, Brony can be argued to be this similar power level, but a tractor looks like the aliens from the Chicken Little movie. I don't remember the aliens from that movie. Like, I can picture that movie in my head, but only the beginning parts when nobody believed Chicken Little. Didn't know you got Zomboni? Yeah, so the dev team, again, content affiliate, they gave me Daisy and they gave me Zomboni. I've yet to use Zomboni. I've used Daisy a bunch, and I really like Daisy. I have not used Zomboni that much, and then I unlocked the Red Speedola, just from packs. But yeah, I think Leprechaun has potential, just... Like, I've been very down on Leprechaun, but as I've hopefully emphasized enough, I don't think there's really any truly bad Phobies, pretty much across the board. It's just there are ones that require niche scenarios, which makes it challenging for some of these things to come together. Daisy didn't look good on paper. People have been saying she's good. She's doing what I'd expect. It's just healthy enough that your opponent has to jump through some hoops to get it, but the damage output is really powerful. So in the scenarios where Daisy is good, it feels great, but it's not... I don't feel like Daisy is a universal phobie. It's not a stabby. It's not a generic 1-drop. It's not a murder wing. You have to use it and tailor the configuration of the board. Tailor the board state so that Daisy can actually be utilized to its fullest. I still think she should have a minor health buff. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yeah, she does have some really high damage output baseline, comparatively. And remember, it's a 2-move, 2-ranger, so you can sit outside and then get in and tag something. You have sweet and salty kettle corn? I don't know if I like the idea of sweet and salty. That sounds a little weird, but if it's, I mean, well, it sounds like the rest of chat is up for that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there anything that's sweet and salty that I like? I'm just not really a person who generally likes sweet tasting things. How many ultra rares do I have? I have no idea. I don't usually track that sort of thing, to be honest. I don't have the ultra rare ones. Is there an ultra rare too? Because I don't think I have one. Obviously jar, so 1. 1. 2, 3. 4, 5. Yeah, bad omen. Bad omen. That's a good point. I wonder if I get to see it in... No, it's still locked back here because we haven't technically seen it in game. Morty Jar, Scritch, Rocket Man, Brony, Russell, Hevo. Yeah, I think I've missed Morty like I always do as I was going through. I think I've missed Morty. Would Morty be better? Like, how much more Morty would we see if Morty was less common? Or if it was more common, rather, as in it was a lower rarity. Yes, more people would have it in their collection, but would we see Morty a lot more? I wonder. I think we would at lower levels, lower rankings, because I think people would be absolutely enamored by the damage output. They're like, oh my god, it does 1 billion damage! Maybe more, it's an effective assassin. Is it, though? I gotta force it more, truthfully. I really do, because I'm realizing, especially on bigger maps, you can swing around and just flank. But it can be very difficult. It can be difficult. I just had an amazing game of Morty I submitted. Alright. Speaking of games... Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future, so look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. Alright, we'll see how many we get through tonight, chap. We'll see how many we get through. We're going to start off with an Onda replay. Rejoining the ranks of the subscribers, thanks to some generous donations from chat. Shout out to them. Very few ultra rares have flavor text instead of an ability. Yeah, because a lot of them have abilities, I think. Or just additional text. It's basically the opposite of Clobster. Good damage, horrible HP. Fair. I like Clobster, but the problem with Clobster is it doesn't one-shot jars. Which probably... So on ladder, Clobster's probably fine if you have a high-level Clobster. Because you could just randomly just get in there and snipe something. The problem is that when it's on level, Clobster cannot kill a jar, and then it's like, well, what does it kill? It just doesn't seem like it does enough. Just making sure we got the right game. Here we go. We're loading in with Onda and Minnie here, and the orange trunks on Xylo is our hero, and the notes are just simply yoinks and boop. This is, of course, review night. Sunday nights, I'm trying to make review night for the live stream, so if you want to come by, watch some other people's games, see what we can learn from other people's games, come by the live stream. RTChompGG over on Twitch. The links for that and my Discord, of course, in the description. You know, not far from the like and subscribe button. Those definitely help. But in the meantime, we're going with what seem to be somewhat standard openers. People are realizing, and of course more people are just acquiring Snowball as they've been in the ecosystem of the game, we'll say, for longer. So Snowball comes in, caps his middle point, it gets it kind of for freezies. Onda, of course, counters with getting 2 panic points of their own. But this follow-up from Bad Guy, while chewing up all of their keys, now presents some interesting challenges, because it's difficult to just assault this position, because the Murder Wing has to go out so far, has to, you know, be in a specific location, so you can't immediately leap onto the jar, for example. This seems like a slight error here from Onda. Well, maybe not. I guess they're just going to take the singular hit. The risk here, of course, is that the cowbell gets annihilated by, you know, this plus whatever comes out of the spawn, and then the Murder Wing comes over and pops it. But in the meantime, we're getting I don't want to say it's bad. I just don't like Gravedigger as much as Crushmore. It feels like you'd rather bank the 3 keys on this map, the 3 extra keys, and then get Crushmore so that you can both break this block, which this center line blocks, which a lot of people seem to do, and then also have a relevant threat afterwards. Because Gravedigger just kind of hangs around and does nothing until its breakability is up again on this map. It's difficult to get this to connect, in my opinion. I can be wrong. And if you feel differently, let me know down in the comments or chat. Let me know. But we're now seeing the Onda special on this map. We're getting the War of the Worlds, getting a little tractor action along with Repeller, and I know for a fact Onda has other yoinks, so this is going to get ugly fast for Bad Guy. This is an arena game. Made my opponent start the game. The Numbskull ritually spawn Numbskull first move, undo it. That's funny. Double alien from Onda. Yeah, Onda did this to me the other night. Oh man, I'm like disintegrating, chat, because my green screen apparently just can't read when I wear a black shirt. I don't know. Starkwing Duck, by the way. Let's get dangerous, baby. But anyway, in the meantime, we got a Hevo 2.0, getting ahead of myself, from Bad Guy here. And also Snowball going down. I mean, this Murder Wing's probably going to pay with its life. But does Bad Guy not see this coming? Oh, okay. This is on cooldown because the boop already happened. I was going to say, like, this is just boop, yoink, and dead, right? Now, that being said, I don't know, can Onda really punish this? Probably not. I'm getting Thanos snapped. Eventually. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. This is interesting from Onda. How are you going to protect this thing? Oh, okay, that's fair. It's still vulnerable, though. It's still vulnerable. Now it's no longer vulnerable because you get the body block. You get the body blocks to protect this because, obviously, the overhead boop could come in. Overhead boop. The overhead lob. This yoink is interesting. Like, I don't know about this yoink. Still have the boop online here from the Hevo. What'd you miss? We're just getting started, Urk.
That is the mark of a master.
I do appreciate the Maggie up here just to ensure that there's no chance that this thing ends up getting booped into the pit. Heads up play by Onda there. Unfortunately, the Maggie's just going to die for freezies, but it's better than losing the Attractor or something, right? One day you'll get Paddles or Gonzo Bonzo. One day. We'll get there one day. Do we get a Muffin here? It's fine, I guess. So Boop is back online, or should be. And of course the long range here means that you're able to continue softening this thing up, although this is kind of cool looking. Like, that looks kind of cool. This could be a good thumbnail. The Clinico here is almost ready to heal up again. Can't put on the healing spot because Maggie's camping there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get it. I get the Muffin. it just still feels like... I guess if you specifically wanted it... Where was Maggie to start the turn? Because if you could have... Because you muffin this turn. I guess if you're going to muffin, this is kind of a forward-thinking thing. Because otherwise, you're going to have to rearrange the repeller. Obviously, if you don't muffin it and you walk up to shoot, it's going to die. But given the way the turn ended, you probably didn't have to do the muffin. It would have made the follow-up turns way more complex, because you'd have to be dancing around the potential of your opponent just diving to kill the repeller. But almost at level 40, getting snowball tomorrow. Nice, Urk. Welcome to the ranks of the good boy. Hey, speaking of Furk and Leapercarn. Got a Noxious card quest today? So Anda's kind of liberally using these boops. I mean, this does result in some extra damage. And there isn't an immediate, I'm setting up a boop kill, like the following turn, so I guess this is fine. But we have gotten a lot of boops. Honestly, there's an argument to just using the boops and yoinks on... Oh, baby, speaking of Heartbreaker. Wait, why? Hold on. I'll finish my thought and then we'll come back to this. This might be a cool screenshot too, because just like, look at all the things that are on the board here. There's a lot of stuff going on. But there's an argument to be using Attractor and Repeller on cooldown just to mess with your opponent, because it constantly pushes, pulls or pushes your opponent out of position, even if it's not, oh, well, I yoink something or boop something into, bang, it's dead. It just screws with your opponent's head and just tilts them. Yeah, I'm with you, DT. I mean, that's why I paused it, is what Urk was saying. Why the Heartbreaker into the Leapercarn that's on the board? Now, they are on opposite corners, so it's possible bad guy is like, well, I'll just get in, pull something, and then if they Leapercarn, I don't care. I have to imagine that it doesn't work out for them. Yes, Speak of the Devil is right. Speak of the Devil is right. So are these, like, ribs on Heartbreaker? Like, is Heartbreaker, like, hunched over, and then this is, like, a big hole in their chest, like Ted? Or are those supposed to be, like, spines? What do you think, chat? I think they're supposed to be ribs. They're supposed to be ribs. That's what I'd imagine. See, here's the thing, like, this Heartbreaker could get this Attractor right now. The question is, could they kill it? And I have to imagine yes. And then it gets Leapercarned, but is that worth it? Cows are machines that convert leaves into steak? I guess that's one way to describe it. But bad guy, no, not like this, bad guy. Oh, bad guy. Chat, look at this. Okay, get your clip buttons ready for this one. Look at this turn. This turn is absolutely insane, and there's no way bad guy saw this coming. Like, you get the yoink, and then you get the advance, and bye-bye. Well played. That's actually brutal. Yo, that guy is mad. That is, yeah, major L taken. Imagine dropping Heartbreaker and then moving it twice and it dies. Imagine. The Heartbreaker play is kind of smart, because if Leapercarn can only turn off one of them, so I guess it's one way to look at it. The problem is that either way, it's a key positive trade. Like, Heartbreaker is not useless without its ability, but it's obviously super fragile, so it's like, use my ability, then I get in for an attack or something. If you reduce it to just the attack, that's 8 keys for 4, in Leapercarn's case. Heartbreaker I don't think is an answer to the Leapercarn. I get where you're going with it, Urk, where, like, you overload the Leapercarn. I just don't know that it's really going to work in this case. This is bold, but I was too busy focused on the other play. Yeah, this is on cooldown. Oh, no, they've Leapercarned it. Onto Leapercarned it. And we even get a Squiggles. Chat, the rest of the game doesn't even matter. Like, that one play was busted. One guy named Saltimus Prime being toxic. You know what's funny is that, at New York Comic Con this weekend, they revealed the new Transformers cartoon. It looks pretty cool. Spoiler alert, Megatron is a good guy. It's also because in that timeline, the war is already over, so I'm very curious how all of this is going to play out. Oh my god, the Squiggles doesn't even attack hard. Isn't even necessary. High five, just going ham. And deflating that heart. Onda is a menace. Onda the Terror. That was pretty cool. That play was awesome. Yoinks and Boops is right. That was actually pretty savage. I'm not gonna lie. Those are the kind of plays you love to see. I don't think there's any way that bad guys saw that coming. Like, there's just no shot, right? There's no world in which they saw that sequence of plays coming. First time seeing Leapercarn ability used. I think Onda has... I mean, there have been other players, of course, but Onda, as of late, has gained some infamy due to Leapercarn. Yeah, that's a cool Heartbreaker you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it. I'm telling you, there's no chance they saw that coming. There's no chance. And it goes back to the same point where, like, I am still of the opinion that this whole chain is problematic. Now, don't get me wrong. Heartbreaker feels kind of stupid. But, you got the clip taco? Nice. Heartbreaker seems kind of stupid. But. Attractor and Repeller are just, I don't know. Every time Heartbreaker approaches me, its own heart is the one that gets broken. I mean, somebody's heart, it didn't say which heart it's breaking, Honda. Heartbreaker just promised a broken heart. It didn't say whose. Has anybody used Gargoyles? If so, is he any good? I think Gargoyle's decent, but it needs very specific circumstance. It's another niche phobie. I don't think it... What I always see people do is plop it on the center panic point and turn it into a statue and be like, well, you can't take back the center panic point. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm just going to murder the rest of your team and then the Gargoyle when it pops back out. So instead, what I think people need to do is you use it like Gravedigger, but they can't interact with the obstacle. So for example, I don't know if it's still in the pool, but that's not what I meant to do. It's not the map I was thinking of, but like say you're on Step Right Up, right? And you fly Gargoyles in, and then just lock them in there, like either put it here or here. They literally can't get out for however many turns, and then you just hopefully clean up the rest of their phobies. Or you put it here and like lock off part of the map so they have to take the scenic route around. I think what people need to use Gargoyles for is positional advantage, not just... Unless you're going to win off of locking that panic point down, why are you locking down a panic point for like 2 or 3 turns? Who cares? You could do that with 1 keys. Even if you use 3 1 keys to do it, you come out a little bit lower on the damage, but you could have also used those 1 keys to do other things around the board. If Gargoyles uses his ability on a healing spot, will he still heal in stone form? Honestly, I've never seen that come up, so I don't know. I would assume not, because I think poison still ticks. Like, say you poison a Gargoyles, or disease it. It still ticks, but he doesn't take damage. So I think his health just kind of, like, disappears. I feel like somebody said that in chat before, but it's also a scenario that I haven't actually personally seen. Well, poison still ticks, but he takes no damage. Yeah, that's exactly it. I think he basically doesn't have health in statue form. So I'd assume Healing Spa doesn't do anything, but I don't know for sure. Don't know for sure. So we're starting out pretty well, chat. We're starting out with a pretty cool game with that. We got a couple of people that we already did earlier this week. So as per usual, I try and only do one game per person per week. I do give subscribers priority, but if we have time, we might do, like if we have time, we'll do the other games, the ones that are repeats. Check his card, maybe he'll say if he can heal. I don't think it has anything about that. Immovable, undamageable, and untargetable. Now, it says undamageable explicitly, but it doesn't say unhealable. So, maybe it can heal, because then it's not one of those things. I now have a level 8 Jeeves, that's a meaty walrus. Show me a walrus that is not meaty. Like, isn't a walrus by definition meaty? My nose is so itchy tonight, chat. Alright. Let's see what else we got on deck. We got a Fratute game. Fratute notably putting like 80,000 suggestions in the official Discord, so shout out to Fratute, always trying to find stuff to help improve the game. I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm being serious. Being very sincere about this. I am super see-through. Super transparent tonight. I don't know what's going on with the lights. But, despite all of that, we're of course talking about what I bring up on pretty much every stream because we are getting closer to the elections in the United States at the end of this year. If you're not registered to vote, make sure you get registered. Once you are registered, or if you're already registered, make sure you show up and vote. Voting is crucial. Make sure that before you vote, you look up who the candidates are. Who's up for federal election, who's up for state election, who's up for local election, who's up for the dog catcher. It doesn't matter. Make sure that you show up with knowledge. You are prepared. Don't just be checking boxes. Make sure that you go see what the candidates stand for, what they represent, and what they intend to do when they actually get into office. And it's going to take some homework. It's going to take some effort. That's the fact of the matter, that democracy requires an invested citizenry. You must be an involved citizen. You can go to their websites. You can read about them. What are they saying? What have they voted for? The records are going to be public. Learn about them, because these are the people, and we've talked about this on the stream before, these are the people that are going to be put into power, and it's their job to make decisions on behalf of all of us. So we need to be very cognizant of who we are choosing and putting into power, because otherwise we risk putting Republicans into power who right now are hell-bent on destroying the United States of America. Its very foundations and tearing apart everything that this country is supposed to stand for. The fact of the matter is that many of them are, probably all of them are just straight up lunatics. As mentioned, they're hell-bent on destroying America and replacing it with a theocratic dictatorship. I don't think I really need to explain why that would be bad. Now, beyond that, make sure that you're also looking into charities. It could be local charities, whether it's a food bank, it's a homeless shelter, it could be national charities, it could be an international charity, because man-made and natural disasters, of course, are always going to be with us. It's just the fact of life. And as a result, until we live in a utopia where we're able to provide everyone everything they need at all times, and the governments properly step in and really support their citizens, we can't just leave people to be completely unable to help themselves and just completely fend for themselves. So pitch in where you can, help out who you can, however you can. It could be time, it could be money, it could be other goods, something. There has to be a way that you're able to improve the lives of those around you. And that's the bottom line. So our hero here is Fratute on Mysomania, zoning in the orange trunks. Bad guy, of course, in the blue trunks. Post-game update, took the risk and worked. Also did that thing with Jin Sting at the end because mission. Okay. So I'm assuming that there's a weird play coming in towards the end. We'll see what this is. That baby walrus still less meaty? Yeah, but it's still meaty. Just because it's less meaty doesn't mean it's not meaty. Like, there's a range for meat, right? How's that for an opening clip? So, we get a really weird opener from both players. Blue player did not break their obstacle, instead elected to go snowball one drop. And then Hero, instead of going with Gravedigger, just all in on Mount Crushmore, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. It's just, you know, take this out of context. I try and find, like, in all seriousness, when I go through an edit, I usually say, so I'll pause this to explain, because I want to make sure we're paying attention to the game. So, when I do, this is a little bit behind the scenes. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, but when I go through an edit, usually if you hear me say on stream, like, oh, well, I'll probably use that for a thumbnail, that's a note for me when I'm editing to be like, oh, at this timestamp, go look at the screen, so that way I can go find the picture. Similarly, that might be the opening clip, is so that I can listen to it and decide if I want to do it. But I actually spend some time when I edit it to go out of my way to find the funniest out-of-context thing that I can find. Here's some Phobies lore. Poison Ivy is a vegan. Is it, though? Is it, though? Like, did the developers say that somewhere? Because I don't know how you're getting that out of this. It clearly bites things. I have to assume that it's eating stuff. I don't break the obstacle at the beginning either. There are scenarios where it helps me, so I don't want to break it immediately. I guess. I can see it. Most of the time I get into this I'm sending one keys war. Poison Ivy enjoys cannibalism. It's a fly trap and you're saying it's vegan? I mean, it's not, though. It's Poison Ivy. Yes, it's a fly trap, but it's not. And to be fair, they're all made up monsters, so, like, is a plant eating a plant, like, if we're gonna say a plant eating a plant is cannibalism, how is, like, what is the actual, like, that would still be vegan, right? Because you're not eating anything, you're not eating an animal or anything from animals. I don't know the technical ins and outs of veganism. Like, I maybe I'm stretching the definition. I'm happy to be corrected here. Well, yes, Scrungle, the photosynthesis would probably be considered vegan. However, we've technically never witnessed Poison Ivy consume another phobie. It bites phobies, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's, like, a trachea inside the mouth. It could just be, like, claws, essentially. Like, picture instead of a mouth, it's actually just a giant claw. Although it does eject the traps from there, but maybe that's, like, we're trying to posit some real-world biology onto this. We might run into some logic gaps here, chat. We can fill in the gaps, but of course we're just hypothesizing. Is there a 4-key trap phobie? Yes. It's right there, Rhonda. Are you only listening to the stream? I don't know. I don't know if you meant, like, is there another 4-key? Or what? I thought you were trolling me for a second. I'm like, it's right there. Hey, look, chat. We've all done and said some silly stuff before. Like, yes, it's funny, but Venus. Well, Venus is 3, isn't it? Oh, Poison Ivy. Okay, see. Scrungle's trying to give on to crap, and it's like, the phobie's on screen. But anyway, let's talk about Fratute's game. I was trying to count trap phobies to reply for Ghost Chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're busy scrolling chat, or if you're watching on mobile, all is forgiven. Even if you're not, all is whatever. It's not important. It's just still funny. It's still funny. Anyway, so Crushmore now shows up for bad guy. Yeah, Fratute. Well, you timed it just right, so we're actually talking about your game. You may want to watch the beginning of your game just for some laughs, but now we're actually talking about the game. Because there was some very stupid things that were happening that were funny. See, the key is always laugh at yourself, Honda. So, honestly, I don't dislike Bad Guy's position here. I don't dislike Bad Guy's position here, but Fratute, okay. Now Fratute's bringing in the heavy hitters. We get a little Hematic Gin Sting action. Little Hematic Gin Sting action. See, this I don't agree with. Bad Guy is banked to 10, but seems to have no interest in contesting this part of the board or this part of the board. Like, you gotta do one of the two. You can't just let your opponent already start beating on your heart. Excuse me, beat on your heart, because they have better panic points. Okay, this is an answer. Is it, though? It's a level 8 Mildred, so it's doing 1100. That will obviously kill the... Why can't I click on these? It'll kill the jar, but it's not going to kill this without help. It's obviously not killing the Hevo without help. So we get a sheep. Always remember to never let your enemies be enemies. What do I currently think about Foul? It's pretty conflicted on any of its diseases are actually good. I've been using it as an answer to higher level undead and dimensional phobies. So, speaking of Foul, so we might as well talk about it since Foul just showed up. I don't understand why Foul showed up here. But, for example, Beauty, Chuck, Mildred, stuff like that, I think Foul is a decent answer to because, yes, it takes some time and you still have to juggle your board for a few turns because they're not going to die right away. But it does allow you to put a clock on them. Your opponent has to get value out of it in the next few turns or it's just going to die. And that includes, because it may not just die to the disease. Obviously, that would be nice if they just pulled it back and whatever. So the idea is that you disease the Chuck, and then they have to inch it forward, and then you just collapse on it because Chuck doesn't have that much health, plus it's diseased. That sort of thing. Additionally, don't ignore the fact, I mean, this is a level 3 Foul, but Foul has a huge damage output. I've absolutely heart raced people where it's like, oh, you're running away from the Foul? Okay. I'll just punch you in the neck. Because Foul pushes a ton of damage. Bad Guy could have issues choosing Phobies or either not, because Phobies... Wait, what? The chat scrolled on me. Bad Guy could have issues choosing Phobies, or just not have Phobies he wants to use. All the times I bank in my replays either because I'm indecisive or at max Phobies. That's fair. That's fair. That's reasonable. In this scenario, I don't see a reason for Foul. Like, I assume what Bad Guy's thinking is, oh, I'll foul the Crush more. Which is fine, but odds are if the Foul goes in, the Foul is going to die. So you're trading 7 keys for 6, like... Okay. I think Foul is my least used stress phobia. I could see that. It feels more niche than the other ones I have right now. Right now, Oopsie Baby is far and away the lowest used, but it's also only like level 3 for me, so I gotta level it up. But anyway, we see Mildred and Foul inching up. Again, I'm not really sure what the Foul is for here. Not really clear on the Foul. Oopsie Baby seems busted. Why isn't anyone using it? Because they have access to the alien phobies, probably. If you have the Innocuous chain, it's comparable and or better than Oopsie Baby in a number of scenarios. Why did this happen? Chat. Like, hold on. So Bad Guy moved up to this position and then just allows this sheep to connect. And then... What? Why did this happen? That can't possibly be... I mean, I guess at this point, bad guy's desperate. Because, like, look at this heart. This whole this Crushmore almost from... It came out turn 1. Basically just marched down here, opened the gateway for the jar, and then the two of them have just been pelting... Look at this, 1,400 health to 51. I don't think Fratute ever even attempted to claim the center point. Just marched down here and started punching the heart. Like... It's like getting in a fight and just standing there and letting the other guy club you. I'm standing my ground. Yeah, well, in the meantime, he's stomping your dick into the dirt. Like, what are you doing? And again, I'm not trying to beat up on bad guy here, but I don't... This kind of feels uncontested. The entire game. I mean, we're finally seeing some damage go down here, but it doesn't matter. This is a lob. This is a lob.
Brilliant.
1,100 health. I mean, technically, our hero... Well, the game ends this turn. I wonder if they just concede. There's a ton of AoE here. AoE, AoE, AoE. Just cap the panic point. Lol. Got him? Fratute, making it look easy. Making it look easy. In all seriousness, though, I don't... I'm standing my ground, yep. I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna skip through the turns, but... Tell me if I'm wrong, chat, or YouTube. You're watching this. Let me know down in the comments. Am I wrong here? It just feels like at no point did bad guy ever make an attempt to, like, contest in any meaningful way. You could argue they didn't even really contest until turn 18 of 20. They were down to, like, 2k health. 2,500 health, we'll say. It was actually more than that. It was probably like 2,800 health. Before they even bothered to show up. They got the party invite and just decided to show up way past fashionably late. Way past fashionably late. Honestly, I don't hate the Mildred choice. I really like the hard HP is called anxiety points. Are they actually? Yeah, it's your hard anxiety level. I feel like I knew that and must have forgot. They said be there or be square. This guy became an octagon. I like that. I like that. This is, I got secrets. Excuse me. I got a ping in chat, or in Discord. But chat, it's, another real-life news. It's apparently cave cricket season. Because as I was closing up the stream last night, turning off all the lights and shutting everything down, I go upstairs. And two of these ugly ass bugs. I hate these things. They both leap at me. And I thought they're big enough that I thought they were wolf spiders. That's how big these things were. And the thing is, they are super duper fast. Like, they are really fast. They don't, like, skitter. They hop. But they are fast, and their reaction is really good. So it is very, very difficult to actually trap and kill these things. And I think my wife, because she's hell-bent on doing all these projects down here, and I think she may have disturbed some of them, so I expect after the stream... I'm going to have to go hunting for a little while to try and eliminate some of the creepy crawlies. I hate these things. This was a pretty cool play because of the yoink there from the dimensional pull. But it sure does look like that Ryuchi is doing Ryuchi things and just dominating, right? So, I didn't get to do a high-level game breakdown this weekend. I'm a little disappointed with myself. We might do one tonight, maybe. Try and squeeze that in. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But we can tell 19 to 20, we can tell where this game is going to go. So we'll jump back into some viewer game breakdowns. We got the Fratute game. The absolute massacre that was the Fratute game. So it's a Mushry game. So Mushry, if I'm saying their name right, maybe it's Mushry, I don't know. This person actually featured in my speculation video before the Carnival patch dropped, because they were the person who had discovered, or at least the person that I saw had discovered, the log entries. Basically, the code names for all the phobies. So, shout out to them. So I'm playing this game, pushing this guy back, and out of nowhere you come back and they bring out a beauty. You always love those, don't you, right? It's like, I'm crushing this game. They can't do anything to... Oh, they can do something to stop me. Ruh-roh. Surprise. Alright, so our hero here is in the blue trunks zoning into Moai. And the notes for this game, absolute monster of a game. So let's see how monstrous this particular game is. I've gone on record at this point that I don't like Moai. Now, I don't like it for me. I don't know if the map is overall fine yet. It feels very, very difficult to defend on this map. Like, verging on impossible levels to defend. Obviously, it's not quite impossible to defend because somebody has to win in a base race scenario like this. Has anyone else ever noticed the shadows changing on Eternal Knight's blade here? Like, you can see it move from the tip on the one to the edge. And then when it's idle like that, it actually is on bolt. That's pretty cool. I don't think I ever noticed that detail before. I wonder if that's solely because it's behind this. No, it's part of the regular animation. I was trying to see if maybe this, like, statue obstacle was causing it. Heartbreaker's busted on this map? I could see it. But you can make the same argument for Xylo, and we've obviously seen it lose there. This seems like a wasted Eternal Knight from Bad Guy. I don't know why this got so aggressive. Unless the assumption was that they... I don't know, like, this thing was dead no matter what. There was no way that Eternal Knight was surviving. I don't know, that seems weird. Holds Firkin gently. Bad Guy refusing to take their own panic... Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, like, is nobody gonna take this panic point? This Quagmire is also super bold. Like, this is a bold move, Cotton. Now imagine you found a tarantula in your home. I've seen wolf spiders that would probably qualify as small tarantulas. Not in this house that I've lived in, but in other ones. In the past. But if I found, like, a legit tarantula, I would be very concerned. This is why I like to live where I... Like, where I want to live, the winter will kill all of these creepy crawlies. So, they just don't exist for the most part when it hits wintertime. Fun fact, tarantulas love to live in corners. Well, I mean, most spiders do, right? Because spiders are, you know, hunting... I mean, all predators hunt, I guess, but, like... You know, they rely on stealth. They're not... I mean, bigger spiders, I guess, can brute force something, but, like... And obviously they need the strength to pull down the prey. Speaking of prey, like, why is this quagmire here? Why? Can somebody explain to me why this quagmire went up here? No, tarantulas don't... I mean, there might be a kind of tarantula that can, but to my knowledge, they don't weave webs. They're the ones you always see, like, in Indiana Jones movies. Like, in Raiders of the Lost Ark in the beginning, I think it was Raiders, where they're both covered in giant, like, huge-ass spiders. I mean, there were webs there, but I think that was just for, like, for show. I don't think it was implied they were from the tarantulas. I'll Google it after this game, chat. We're getting a fetch coming up. Like, what is bad guy doing? Honestly, real talk, I feel like this guy is just throwing Phobies into the wood chipper. Hold on, look at this. Chat, would you look at this? Look at this Stairmaster. That's a cool thumbnail. Look at this Stairmaster. Tuck and roll, baby. Get in there. Most spiders can live in your walls, tarantulas can't. I mean, I'm sure they could, hypothetically. Yeah, I don't know what this guy is doing. This doesn't... It 100% feels like, here, eat my Phobies. I mean, this is where the announcer is just screaming, Ultra Kill! Over and over and over again, right? We're playing Unreal Tournament. Or if we're playing Killer Instinct, Ultra Combo! I can keep going, but you get the idea.
Needed that.
If you think he's throwing away Phobies, wait till you see my game. Alright. I was trying not to keep the volume, because I could have kept it louder for longer, Taco, but I figured somebody, like, I'll get comments on the YouTube video where they're like, I can't hear anymore. It's like, I get it. When you watch my videos, just turn the volume down. Yeah, I'm with you, Urk. I'm with you, Urk. That sounds like the baby. Hardly. Oh, maybe she went upstairs. She's hanging around on the stairwell. Yeah, bad guy. I don't know. I don't know. Plays Moffat so we could poison my Jeeves. Taking my plays? Hey, we got a Bluelian out of this. The Bluelian to save the Stairmaster. Bluelian, my beloved. Bluelian, I would like to get Bluelian. I think Bluelian offers a lot of potential cool plays. Obviously, Greylian does too. Why Clinico if you had Bluelian all along? Needed it in the moment. I mean, brilliant. Honestly, this game is just somewhat of an outlier because it seems like bad guy was just pull Phobie out of vault, insert Phobie in meat grinder. You clip the ultra combo. I submitted a Greylian game for review. Nice, nice. And suddenly, bad sushi. Is bad sushi the universal sign of this game is over? Sometimes my Phobia HP is low. I kind of doubt to heal with Bluelian because I think it can just dive. I mean, that's reasonable, Onda. That's reasonable. I do love the little jingle from the aliens, though. In 2 easy steps, you'll learn how to make yourself a nice and tasty Phobie paste. Oh my god, he's dead. Just stop. GG. Well played, Mushry. Mushry. Let me know how your name is pronounced. I apologize. I always feel bad when I mispronounce people's names and I'm not actually sure how they prefer it to be pronounced. So I'd like to get it correct. But yeah, bad guy there just seemed to be absolutely just shredding their Phobies. They hated Phobies that game. Specifically their own. And what they... Ooh, we got our coffee. I did hit gold this week. Shout out to me. And the client didn't crash this time. Client didn't crash this time. We'll see if it does when I try to go in. Just double checking something on the list real quick. Wonder if what happens if I put all my Phobies in the meat grinder. Well, I think we just saw a good encapsulation of that ideology. Alright, we got a dogewhal game. Take a little doge action. Get a little happy muffin here. So the muffin for... Timeout. The muffin that's the bot is way more stressed. Like, I want this muffin avatar. This muffin avatar... I mean, I'm not trying to dunk on Doja's version, but like this muffin avatar, like these avatars need to be things. Is this Cyclops avatar a thing? Yeah, the Cyclops one is pretty cool. I think the Gravedigger's a little different. I think all of these are different. I don't know if there actually is a Octonauty one. But I like this muffin avatar reminds me of me every day at work. But anyway. Alright, honestly, they lost so hard I just had to submit this. So this is the game Doge was talking about earlier, and oddly enough, bad guy's name is Gift1, and based on the notes, it sounds like they gifted this game to our hero here, Dogewhal, in the blue trunks, sporting the Ted avatar. Shout out to Ted. It's coming up on Ted and Jill's anniversary. You love to see a couple that's been together for like 75,000 years. Shout out to them. Get a little Rush Hour action. You don't like Rush Hour? I don't know. This is a map that... There's a lot of maps that are... Let me rephrase this. First of all, we have some really weird openers from both players. Like, a very early Quagmire and... I don't know. I think a lot of maps are starting to stratify for me. We get a more... What is happening in this game, chat? I might not be able to talk about this for much longer, because there's some weird stuff happening. I feel like most of the maps are starting to stratify for me, where I know... It's like, yes, I really like this map. I really hate this map. Or these are all in the cluster of, nah, whatever. They're... Okay, fine. They're filler maps. I have to... There are a couple more that I still have to consider, as in I'm not 100% sure how I feel about them, but... They've absolutely dropped off. Yeah, Quagmire's one that... Yeah, you want a Quagmire. Too bad Atono's not here, because Atono was asking about... Oh, it would be cool if there was an ooze monster that had regeneration, so that, like... You know, it took damage and then just filled back in with more ooze. And I'm like, yeah, so you mean the snot monster himself, Quagmire. In my game, I show a love-hate relationship with Heartrush? Alright. Yeah, bad guy here is already demonstrating some questionable choices. They banked a 10. But this is... It's fine banking. Like, I don't have a problem with people taking turns off with banking, but you really need to play it safe. So that you don't end up in a... Because right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Phobies to well, not 0, 1. 4 Phobies to 1. And then you're going to get your follow-up, but only Snowball could reach... Well, I guess Jar could reach too. But they're electing to go with Gravedigger and Pischetti. Pischetti came up earlier when we were talking about foul. I don't mind Pischetti, but it does feel like Pischetti loses a lot of value with the existence of foul. Yeah, I don't... I'm not sold on Stabby on this map, but it's fine. Fish tank. I haven't seen a fish tank in a while. Morty's built like a burnt chicken nugget. What? He threw it? Yeah, like... So, real talk, I could see bad guy here getting tilted after losing the murder wing and the, I think it was a cassowary here. Whatever was on the healing spot. But losing these two, and then only having the Morty just kind of tilting from there. Because the rest of this just, so far, just does not seem to make sense. The Morty play absolutely makes zero sense. Like, I don't know what they were thinking there. The erratic here tells me, no, they're still playing for realsies, as opposed to just spawning things and letting them die. So it'd be interesting to see some sort of phobie that's this abstract object that's sort of like 3D and spins around and attacks, just goes wacky. I feel like Thunder Rocks kind of fits that description, but I think they could take it to a more extreme, yeah. Is Fish Tank's whole body robotic or just the arms? I feel like it's just the arms, and it's literally, this is supposed to be a fish, but if you look at the picture, the way the jaws are, it kind of looks like they're segmented, almost like there's a hinge underneath. I mean, jaws, I guess, are hinged, but you get what I mean? Like, there's a pin here, and then it's two pieces, and it's just doing this. Meaning that the fish is also robot. I don't know. I had always thought it was a fish with robot arms attached, but maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, I think it's the whole thing. Ugh, tired, chat. So bad guy here is trying. But our hero's been able to bank 7. Imagine a phobia with a last breath ability that made it so after it dies, it stays on the board for next turn before it finally dies. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. It's a different take on having extra XP. By the way, this is a dead Stairmaster. I saw the caster and I'm like, yeah, this thing's dead. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, this one's messy. The last 2 games have been... I mean, I've been on the wrong end of these sort of games sometimes. Like, every once in a while it happens where it's just like, yeah, past a certain point, there's nothing you can do. See, like, even the pull on here doesn't mean anything. Because you can just do this and then walk away. I don't even know that the fish tank should retreat. Because you can hit it with this, the fish tank, a meatball, and this next turn. So that's, we'll say 5, and 8 is 13, and 5 is 18. And 450 is 22. Like, I think this is a dead... excuse me, I think this is a dead erratic if you leave it there. Not even counting the Spud that could come in and damage it. Yeah, if we did the families for everything, Eternal Night, Fallen Night, and Decomposed Night. It was more of a bait because I knew they'd walk up. I mean, also true. You could just walk away because you can still collapse on everything. Chuck to follow up. I mean, bad guy was out of this game several turns ago, but at this point, it's just like... Please stop, he's already dead. I think you need 3 eye-related things for Blinky, though. Because remember, if they're going to do the families, like we were talking about last night, where they add, everything has a tree, like the Droney tree, the Droney family, they're all going to have to be similar. Like, they're going to have the same model, they're just going to be palette swaps, so the name should probably be similar. Or something reasonable like that. Personally, I'd like it if they were all related names or all similar puns. But, obviously, we got Razormouth, Electrocap, Bad Omen, so they don't have to be. GG is right. I mean, there's not much to say about this game. Bad guy took a couple bad fights early on. And didn't even really take the fights. They kind of just ran face first into things. And then... ball game? This is just almost painful to watch. It's almost painful to watch. GG. Textbook. Absolutely textbook. Well played, dudes. You get those games sometimes. Sometimes... I mean, I'm sure tons of people have looked at when I've queued up into them in Async, or even Arena. Now, I'll do stuff like that like we saw in the last 2 games where, okay, the game is over. Yes, it technically will take 10 more turns, 15 more turns to go through the motions. But to me, that's why I think surrendering should be an option and you keep your resources, because it feels somewhat disrespectful to make your opponent go through the motions like, oh, well, especially when there's nothing on the line. If it's a tournament game and your opponent might screw up due to hubris, yeah, absolutely, play it out. I'm fine with that. Although, at the same time, there's an argument to be made, like, look, just concede and go on to the next game for sportsmanship's sake. But, speaking of sportsmanship, when you're talking about ladder or frenemies or something, I wish you could just surrender, because, I guess in frenemies you can, but on ladder, you are penalized for it. Because at a certain point, it's like, yes, this game is obviously over.
Don't let them intimidate you.
There's just no way that you're coming back unless I make a humongous error. Which is possible, but, like, I'd rather move on to another game. Imagine a creepy phobia that moves by doing an upside-down crab walk and it moves fast, so... Contortio, but walking? Or Flesh Crawler walk? I mean, Flesh Crawler can be argued to not be upside down. But that's basically like if Contortio had a walk animation instead of the flip that it does. I've been getting some value from Fish Tank, mostly countering diseases and proving his worth. I think Fish Tank has value. Initially, when I first started playing, I was kind of down on him. Even when it was appropriately, you know, of the level that it should be. And I was using it because my collection was obviously sparse. But I didn't like it because Fish Tank is just a big dummy. It punches stuff good, but that's all it does. That's all it represents. However, sometimes you just need a big idiot to just go whoop the shit out of something, right? Like, sometimes you just need to go up there and punch somebody in the mouth. Like, it's what happens. I don't think there's an upside down when I'm talking about... Well, Contortio is supposed to be, I think, like an upside down person doing, like, the upside down crab walk thing. But it flips instead of moving. Like, you can't really see it on the card very well, but in-game, I think it's more obvious. Fish Tank seems like a better Speedola. I mean, it should be better because it costs more, but it also... The thing is the Speedolas really either cost 5 or they cost 11. I just don't see a reason why you would spawn Red Speedola. I just legitimately don't understand the scenario where you want it. At least not right now. The idea is that you have this big tanky thing, but pound for pound, I think the 5-cost Speedola is better. Just because it's a bigger threat. Red Speedola by itself is a better fish tank? Is it? I don't know how it scales. Because Fish Tank, I value the damage output higher. Fish Tank has high enough health that it is in the tanky category. Is it more or less tanky than Red Speedola? I'm guessing it's less tanky based on what chat's saying. I didn't compare those numbers when I was doing it. But the damage output is so much higher, and that's the thing that I care about. It's like they're both tanky. I clicked in the wrong spot. I was trying to click in between. They're both tanky. Tanky enough? That depends on the scenario. Yeah, Fish Tank is Hydra with 2 movement, basically. Their base HP is the same, so then, yeah. The thing is that the tag team upside kind of gives it to Speedola. But that's why I was saying they either cost 5 or 11. So if you're comparing an 11 cost to a 7 cost, I would hope that the 11 cost is better. Because if it's not, that's bad news for the 11 cost, right? I don't know. I don't mind Fish Tank, but I think it's another one that's like, you need the specific scenario for it to be valuable. You want it against diseases. You want it against poisons. You want it when it's just punching stuff. Fish Tank has less HP than Red Speedola. That's why I say it's worse. I assumed it... I mean, I'm going by what chat is saying because I don't have the spreadsheet up right now. But I would have imagined and guessed that it had less base HP. I can't compare it in client right now, but... I value the damage output more than that extra HP, given that they have the same movement. Because you could make the same argument, oh, then Dozer is better than the Speedola because it has higher damage, as well as higher health. But no, I value the movement. Like, to me, it's a relationship between the damage and movement, because the HP only matters at breakpoints. HP only really matters at breakpoints of, do I survive 2 attacks or 3 attacks? Do I survive 3 attacks or 4 attacks, etc.? Because if you're just... If you have an extra 500 HP, but you're at... everything's at level 20, and everything's doing 700 or 800 damage output, so that 2 attacks from things still end up killing the same Phobies, it doesn't matter. Those numbers are very weird, but the idea is that if you're not getting past whatever the breakpoints are, it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, having more HP likely means that, yes, you're hitting some other breakpoint, but how common is that breakpoint? How relevant is it? And that's what it comes down to. So, the Speedola having... I don't know how much extra HP it has at base, but I'm just going to make up a number and say 100. If it has 100 extra HP, and that doesn't directly correlate to I'm going to survive the most common things that I'm going to confront, then it doesn't matter. It may as well not have that extra HP. Because then they both die to the same things. Dozer is just a big turret like Stabby and the others plus ability. Yeah. That's how it's been described before. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's too costly, but 696, nice. Yep. He is a big, thick boy. So our hero here is Renamon in the blue trunks. We're back on Mysomania, and it says, I don't think sacrifice Phobies is a good idea, to be honest. So make sure you favorite your games. If you submit a game, if you want to submit your games, hit up the links in the description of this video, specifically the Discord, or come by the live stream, and I'll tell you to go to the Discord. So just go to the Discord. But likes and subscribes, they do help. Seriously. Yeah, Ginseng is supposed to be a reference to ginseng. So we get another odd opener from both players on this map. Namely, we get Ted into Cat and then a Fire Ant. So this makes more sense from our hero getting the Trap Phobia online very quickly. The opener from Bad Guy is weird. I mean, Unbearable's a lob. If you do it on turn 1, it shows up early. I get it. It's a little weird, but I get it. The K9's fine. But this was a really good trap because it did actually connect with two things which should not have actually happened. This hurts. I don't even know why that cassowary was there, but that's a dead cassowary for freezies. That's a dead cassowary faux free. Trap phobia that uses Legos as its trap would be funny. That would actually be really funny, but obviously they'd be treading a line with Legos. Turn 4 and immediately start global warming. Oh no, yeah, it's not bad. You gotta break out the fire extinguishers for this one. 5 keys already gone. Yeah, just incinerated. Quite literally. So the follow-up here is K9's going in, but the K9's probably just gonna die, and then the Bachelor replaces it. Right now, we're trading very favorably in favor of our hero. The trap with pushback. That would actually be a really cool trap. That would be a really cool trap. Do we have a trap that does the Rusty effect / Dozer effect? I don't think so. This is a little weird, but I guess it's fine. Really, bad guy? I don't know about that one. Yeah, I mean, well, Jeeves freezes it and prevents the attack, but it doesn't just stop movement. Like, there's a layer in between there. Because I was thinking of the freeze, but the freeze stops the attack, so I'm thinking just pinning something in place. So, our hero's going after the Jin Sting. Okay, Hematic. Did our hero use Snowball? Or do they not? They must not have Snowball, hence the... Well, no, they might not... They wouldn't have had enough keys, so they had to do this. Very interesting. I don't know what the hell this Muffin is doing. Like, was this Muffin preemptively trying to, like, be in position to heal the Jin Sting? Rusty is the trap? Yeah, it's just a mobile trap. I don't understand what bad guy's doing here. I'm not gonna lie. We've had some real head scratchers tonight, chat. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're holding this panic point in the center, but that is not a sufficient clock. There's the heal phobia. I don't know, banked to 9 too. Heroes down panic points and about to be down more, but they just feel like they're in absolute control of this game. This attractor hasn't done a lot yet. It may turn into a monster momentarily. I mean, now this is a lot of pressure on our hero's heart here. Saying here a lot. A little heal action going on.
Oh, that...
So Attractor apparently is going to do an innocuous impression and just laser beam things. Which is fine. I'm a little surprised that this droney has yet to die. Oh, the droney can't kill this? Oh my god. But the Grimes... Oh my god, chat, the Grimes... Got a new idea for a Phobies event. Vendy on the map. If we smack Vendy, we drop some coffee so both players maybe kind of rush Vendy. Just like a mobile objective on the map. It'd be interesting. Be interesting. I can't believe this Fire Ant is so... This Fire Ant is still hanging around. Muffin looking like dinner? Yep. Looking like a snack. No. Chat, everybody decided to submit their beatdowns this week. Everybody's submitting games that are like, is this really a game? This is just a massacre. Alligator. And just like that, no keys for our hero, but it's 7 Phobies to 1 with 5 keys remaining. Gonzo Bonzo is the answer. Is it, though? Is it actually the answer? There hasn't been much commentary to add to these games, chat, other than just the absolute savagery. Toy Story Monkey. Chad always loves to see Gonzo Bonzo. Absolute #1 phobie. Fear the monkey. It is. It's an absolute abattoir. I mean, the Stairmaster's putting in some work. It's not enough, but getting in some hits while it can. In fact, it almost, almost killed the alligator. But you know the old saying, chat. Almost only counts in 2 things. Horseshoes and hand grenades. Grimes is going on a buffet. Gator's too much of a Chad. True. Yeah, Leprechaun might not be bad against Monkey as well. I'm with DT on that. Can't quite take the Monkey down, but it doesn't matter. Oh, excuse me, it doesn't matter. It's not indicative of the game, chat. I'm just very tired. It's going to be a long week, too. So next weekend, I'm going to be super beat. I think this is just contemplating how to kill bad guy. In this case, it's finishing it off with Grimes. GG. GG, Renamon. Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody decided to save all their beatdowns for this week. There are bloopers of the Deets Nuts commercial. That's like, what was that commercial years ago where some guy's going for a job interview and it's at like some banking or accounting firm or something. It's like, I'd love to work for Dumbass and Dumbass. And then like the guy keeps repeating that because it's, and then you look at the interviewer's desk and it says that. Like, as the nameplate. And then at the end of the commercial, the guy goes, the name is Dumas. And then the commercial just ends. I forget what it was for. But that's what it reminds me of. So, chat, we almost got the end of the season. Almost at the end of the season. I gotta get 31 more games. Should be doable. Should be doable. I'm gonna have to push kind of hard. I'm going to have to push, just because I think I'm going to miss some days this week, but we'll see. Miss some days, not streaming, but like miss some days of being able to play. Because I got a bunch of real-life stuff I got to take care of that's going to just be a pain in the ass. It's just going to be time-consuming, but it is what it is. But for now, in Phobies mode, let's take a look at a SilverK game. SilverK, our hero in the orange trunks, wants a lot of Mysomania games tonight, chat. Going up against bad guy who, once again, has a funny name, just Paul. I mean, it's the 420th Paul. Unless this is supposed to be a biblical reference. Or, you know, obviously 420, haha, funny number. But the notes here, this is what I do to people who try to rush the heart in giant maps, sacrifice a 7-drop to win the game. So this sounds like something along the lines of what DT has been describing on this map. We've watched a lot of games recently and played a bunch of games recently where this map has come down to heart punching. And I know at least DT and other people have been stating that that's not what this map comes down to. And I've seen a lot of games where it doesn't go that way as well. But honestly, I think more often than not, it's come down to heart punching. And the heart punching being successful, not defenses. So we'll see. Gonna get the trick-or-treat offer tomorrow. Hopefully get some good stuff. I gotta remember to get that bundle. I do want to get it. I know, content creator and stuff, but I do think I want to get that one. The one with the 3 packs. It's only 15 bucks. I'm still waffling about the Bad Omen one. It just feels pricey. This will have a lot of heart punching? Fair. So, we already see Bad Guy inching their way north, including with the Crushmore, which could, of course, break this top obstacle. I usually run double yoinks against heart rushes on this map. Works every time. I can see that. Oh, that's the name of the 3K2 horrific deal? Fair. I think I missed out on that one. So the Poison Ivy trap did its job. I think Bad Guy should have assumed that that was going to be there. I don't know why they didn't wait. But, so, Silver gets Gonzo online. I like that for defenses as well. That was what I almost forgot what I was going to say. But defending on this map for me usually comes down to Innocuous on the stim, because that means they have to have ranged and or lobs. And then I only have Miss Moffat for yoinks. So, getting that in position, then trying to, like, just collapse on them and hopefully trade there. Oh, that deal's available for the whole month? I see you, salesman. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. I need to use Smother Mother more. Yeah, I haven't seen you use Smother Mother that much, Onda. I remember you saying that you got it. Alright, so we get a Zappy as the defense. And Poison Ivy's gonna, I guess, maybe seal itself in here? Just drop traps on the lava, in which case, whatever comes after it is going to have a very bad... Oh, baby. Chat, I think we're going to see some cool stuff happening. Jill is beautiful. The Blushing Bride. Notably, Jill also has her hair, because we were talking about the undead losing their hair, but I think this is supposed to be Jill's hair under the veil. Kind of like Gravedigger in their 80s glam rock hair. So, I love the idle animations for Zappy. It's actually really cool. This game wasn't that spicy. It looks like it has the potential to be. We'll see. Anytime you see it paddles, there's that chance. New opener on Pluto when going second. It's Gravedigger, Break, Ted. You start with 1 key and Sucky going first or second there. I couldn't remember whether you said you went with 1 keys, but I kind of assumed that, DT. Zappy the Bug Zapper, it's true. So this is interesting from our hero here. Okay, so this spreads it because of the Crushmore. This isn't bad. Obviously, this is going to die. The question is, Zappy's at 1600 health. Like, there's a risk here that the Hevo can sit on the stim and just AoE this stuff down, but 1200? Probably not. It might survive a volley. No, probably not, because you could pop something out, like a snowball coming out of here would ensure its death. Baguette Zapper. So Bad Guy's beating up on poor Poison Ivy here, but it's going to take a little while. Spider, huh? And then Spud? This seems a little weird. I don't know. Alright, Bad Guy's deciding, in fact, that they just want to go for the heart. They just want to go for the heart. Gonzo and paddles onto the Zappy. That's what I'm expecting, but it's not going to deal lethal. It's not like it's going to one-shot this This Hevo. Okay, so we get the Gonzo, but no... Ooh, okay. Ray Chargels with the paddles. But how are you gonna... Do you have a jar? Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no. No! Too many Phobies. Actually needed a Phobie to die to pop out a jar to get it. That's rough. 200 health. And the thing is, this Hevo could hypothetically just tee off on this stuff. Yeah, it'll die from the Zappy passive. That's actually true. Or should die. It might get one hit. It might be able to get like one hit. Maybe not. That did 400 damage. Gotta get the hell out of Dodge, apparently. Gamer chair wasn't strong enough? True. It's all about the gamer chair. Yeah, the Hevo runs away. It valiantly advances in the opposite direction. The thing is, this is still hypothetically scary, because now the Hevo is at decent health. It could heal up on the spot, or try and go fight the Ray Chargels, you know. It was a tactical retreat, yep. The cat ruined the combo, true. You know, I'm lucky my wife isn't hanging out in chat, because you talking about how adorable the kittens are, Scrungle, all the time, and she's absolutely going to try and push for a kitten now. Or at least she'll talk about it a lot. I don't think it'll happen, but... The bad guy is once again trying to make a push in. I didn't see what the heart was at when they initiated their push. If anything, that was clutch from Hevo saving the 9 key. Dog was clawing at you, cuddle me. They do love the cuddles. Mine is not down here. Decided to go hang out with mommy instead. I use my cat as a pillow. She's just fat. I think we can call this heart successfully defended, pretty much. I mean, right now it's 4550 to 4986. Despite the push, our hero has the health advantage on the heart. You even get the Hevo boop here in order to eliminate the jar. Exit stage left, right, dogewhal? Bad guy's just trying to get the hell out of here. I don't know what Paddles is doing down here. I guess Paddles is going after the heart? I'm not really clear. Is this a dead Hevo?
Oh, that was so...
This presumably is a sacrifice 7 key. Which honestly, panic point advantage, still over 4k health. Like, this kind of looks dicey. This is a full health Hevo in position on a healing spa. This looks dicey. 0 keys remaining for our hero and bad guy. Suddenly, like, this is not like the other games we observed tonight where they were just absolutely just raffle stomps. Wow. Our hero is being bold here. Our hero is being bold. They are not bothering to defend. They're saying, I've got this. It's a 4-to-1 panic point advantage, which accounts for a lot of damage. And obviously, there's no way for a bad guy to try and retreat realistically. They're never going to get in position in time. They can do stuff like this. Just get the the snipe to try and cover. Oh, they're going to try it. I don't know about this. They're going to try and retreat. Really? Okay. Look at the health. Yeah, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do at this stage, because their forces were too far away. I think we can safely say that the heart push was defended after the first retreat. Yes, technically they could have came back in, and it was looking scary with the Hevo there. But how long has this Poison Ivy been down here? This Poison Ivy, I mean, we know how the game ends, right? Like, they're just gonna chomp this heart to death. Because look at this. How long has this Poison Ivy been down here? It was down here, it left and came back. The Poison Ivy showed up down on the heart on turn 11. Well, turn 10. It left on turn 15, 14. And then comes back. Poison Ivy's been hanging out down here, just chomping away at this heart. And plus, bad guys seem to never really... They never cared about this middle panic point. So the entire time, this damage has been adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. And while their push was happening, they needed to actually make... You know, like, they didn't push hard enough. Definitely well defended. And yeah, there were Phobie losses. We saw the Hevo that died. We saw, obviously, at the end of the game, some of these things in the north sacrifice their bodies for the team. But ultimately, well done. Well played, SilverK. This was a much, much closer game than what we were watching the rest of the night. But this was a successfully defended heart push. I think Bad Guy tried to make the push too early. The ones that I've seen, it's not like heart push right out of the gate, which is kind of what this felt like. On Mysomania, the successful heart pushes that I've seen is you show up there when you have... You've done about half the damage to the heart already via panic points. Or stray damage from jar hits or something like that. You don't just show up from turn 1 and say, alright, I'm getting in there. Like, that's not how you do it. Which kind of felt like what they were doing. Alright, chat, we're back. The snot monster grows snottier. Quagmire grows. I've been seeing a lot of heart rushes early turns on Mysomania. I don't know. It's one thing to have powerful heart rushes or have heart rushes in general. Doing them super early on a large map like that feels questionable. It's just... You have time to stage the defense. To me, a heart rush needs to be a timing push. And we've talked about that before, like what a timing push is. But the short version is you want to hit at a specific time that is going to close the game out at that when that happens. And if you do it too early or too late, you're not going to get there because your opponent either has time to build the defense that wasn't there to start or already has the defense in position by the time you get there. You have to hit with a specific timing and thread the needle. I think doing it too early, I mean, I get the temptation. If I get there and then just keep sending reinforcements, then I can get them. But the problem is that your opponent presumably wasn't doing nothing, so they can collapse their existing forces, bring them up north, or just go to your heart, cap the other panic points on the way. And of course they have defender's advantage because their vaults are much closer than yours. Yes, there's obstacles and stuff, but there's ways to work around that. That's why the most successful ones I've seen are where the heart is down to like 4k health or less. And then you get two to four phobies in this conga line where it's melee guy, range guy, then like jar. And ideally the range guy is a lobber, so that if they kill the melee, you can just continue lobbing. And then at a certain point, you just can't fight it. You can end the game in like 2.5 turns at that point. And it just may not be feasible for you as the defender to rotate everything up and get to it in time. It usually happens, I think, if they're lower level or want to rush the game. Yeah, that's what I would imagine, Silver, where people don't necessarily realize what they're giving up. Because I'd imagine that it's at low levels, like low stress levels, that it probably is fairly successful because your opponent just doesn't know how, like, what do I do? And they kind of panic. Or if they're trying to rush the game and they just want to get it over with, well, that's, you know, it is what it is. Alright, chat, before we get into repeats, we have one more submitted by somebody who, I think this person, I don't think we've ever done a review for them. So, Urkevina here, once again on Mysomania. Graylian Gaming. Oh, this is Urk, like, oh, it's you, Urk? I was gonna ask, because I'm like, this seemed, but have we looked at one of your games before, Urk? I don't remember. Because I don't remember your in-game name, but regardless, we have a Hydra avatar, which you don't see very commonly, so shout out for that as well. Only some Fright Night ones? Alright. So, we do have some Graylian Gaming on deck, which I'm anxious to see. Once again on Mysomania, so we've had a lot of stomps tonight, and we've had a lot of Mysomania games. Had a lot of those. So if you're trying to figure out how to properly play Mysomania, you may want to take a peek at some of these games. But the openings from both players, once again, a little bit off from what I've been experiencing. Now, I think it was Urk was saying earlier that they don't like breaking the obstacle right away because it has value for other reasons. Definitely makes sense, if that's the case. Is there a way to change your in-game name? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure the devs could do it, but they're not going to do it all the time, right? Like, if you message them and, like, hey, can you please change my name? I really need to for whatever reason. I don't even know what reason you'd have that would be urgent enough, but I'm sure it's possible, but there's no way to officially do it as far as I know. But we've been seeing a lot of unbearables out of people, which I get, especially if your collection is not big. Unbearable could make sense for this map. Yeah, if that were the case, Taco, then I think they would probably make you change your name. So we see a Ted. Ted makes sense in response to the Venus that hit the board. Eat up some traps obviously requires additional effort, but there is a cat staged, so it's really just eat the trap. The repeller could be kind of obnoxious here. But we get a Moffat. I don't know that there's enough... Well, I take that back. Venus actually can put out a pretty significant hurt on things. 590 damage from this Venus just for regular attacks. Point is, if a Yoink comes in, it's going to end up on this trap, get hit by the Venus, and either Cassowary or Gin Sting or both if necessary. The problem is that that would put the Venus in range of the Hevo, which is kind of a big ouch. That being said, this would have been, we'll say 300 plus, we'll say 600, so 9. Plus another 6, 15. Yeah, there was no way to get the Cassowary to connect. Otherwise, you might have been able to kill the Hevo, but there wouldn't have been enough surface area because of the Spider and the Venus in order to punch the Hevo. So the Graylien has now officially come out to play. You may be asking out there, why Graylien? Why does it matter? Well, first of all, there are double yoinks on the board now. Second of all, Graylien does displace farther than other yoinks. So, for example, if we look at the spider here, it could hit something on this lava tile and pull it. It's a 2 range, but it effectively only displaces 1 space, like 1 closer. Because it goes from here to here. Graylien, if it hits something here, goes from here to the stem. So it displaces it an additional space. Meaning that you're more likely... You have to put less effort into positioning the rest of your team. The Graylien, obviously, is likely to, you know, get punished for doing so. But it does let you get some extra reach. So obviously bad guy here knows what's up. There's definitely some mean things that could happen here. Really?
That is the
This seems bold. So bad guy chooses to go in and go in hard, have the rest of their team supplement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maxed out on Phobies, 17 keys in the bank. But you have a Jin Sting off a stim there. I get you're going to be able to get the jar, but... And this Graylien's going to be in good shape.
Of the moon, I think it's a goner soon.
This Graylien won't die. I mean, I guess it could. This is a pretty solid turn from Urk. This is a pretty solid turn. You were so lucky next turn, it almost killed the Graylien. Wait. There's a little band-aid that show. Watch the Graylien. I gotta do it again because somebody was chomping while... Watch the Graylien when it gets hit. There's a little band-aid that shows up when he, like, goes, ah! And then a band-aid shows up on his head. That's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, you're right. 60 health. The land of no... of no snowballs. High Five and Barzilla. I mean, that's a hell of a singular turn. But... I don't know about that. Spider's going to be back online soon. How long is the cooldown on Graylien? Oh, it's got a while before Switcher U comes back up. I like the preemptive break here. I mean, it's really to save this, but I also like it because if High Five comes in, it gives you more surface area to try and shoot at it. High Five. I was going to say doing High Five things, but not really. It's not usually a phobie killer. Graylien isn't done? I don't believe it is. It's got a little while before it's really going to do anything fun, though. Got a little bit of time. So in the meantime, we're just kind of... Ooh, we got a Bluelian, too. We get the tag team. Obviously, bad guy wants to just try and get these two in here, but they really needed a Gravedigger or Crushmore or something to break this. Having to run through this is going to be obnoxious. Wait, what? I'm taking a moment to think here, chap. So the game plan from our bad guy here now is to try and defend these 3 panic points with 4 phobies, one of which is high 5. Now, I absolutely understand why going into the heart seems like a bad idea. Because Yoink is up. Yeah, Switcher U isn't up yet, but it will be shortly. They have control of a stim, and at least one of these 2 will be in range. And yeah, they don't have a ton of damage output, but it's enough to be threatening, especially if you have to walk into a potential minefield between the lava and the traps. But I don't know that pulling back really gets you into a better scenario. I don't know. I don't know. Oh no, high 5. Already high 5 feels like it's in danger. 2400 health is a good chunk, but it feels like it's in bad shape right now. The Switcher U is up. Switcher U is up. At least I think it is. It's up. I think you probably would have killed it, too. You move here, you switch your U, and then you just blow it up. At least I think you would. Part of me gets what bad guy is thinking. Because technically our hero has to do something, right? Here we go. Get a little switcher U action. Chat, this is the second switcher U. The second switcher U in this game. And high 5. Meet your new friends, buddy. They're not actually that friendly. Ouch down population U, bro. People don't believe me when I say he's good. I think he's fine. It's just most of the time. So, for example, if only the first Graylien happened this game, let's say the Graylien died, I don't know if that was worth it. The fact that you got 2, absolutely worth it. But if it was just the first Graylien switcher U, was that worth it? And in these scenarios, it actually... So on this second pull, it wasn't, but I thought he didn't have enough damage. Fair. I mean, I'm not saying that the play was wrong or something. I'm saying that, like, if you look at these individually, I can understand why somebody would say, well, it's not that great. But here's the thing that I want to point out about that Graylien play. So remember how we were talking about the distance of displacement? You might not kill this Hevo, this high 5, if it's just a regular yoink. Because you do 3, 6, so 9, plus another 8 is 15. 20. I think you might just get it if it's a regular yoink, because the trap is here. So, like, you'd roll up the crush more. You'd hit it twice with jar, you hit it twice with this. This does damage, and then you just get it. However, because Graylien puts it here, it allows more phobies to connect. So it ends up with way more... Like, you have a greater chance of killing things because it displaced farther. Then they have to spend their turn killing Graylien. True. I mean, realistically, if you did it with a regular yoink... Like, say you had to go to this spot below the stem next to Ginsting and yoink something and then you killed it, you're exposing the spider or the Octonauty or whatever, and your opponent's gonna kill it. right? I think Graylien is good. The question is, how much better is Graylien than the alternatives? And right now, obviously, in Urk's case, Urk has, or had, both Moffat and Graylien on the board, so it's representing a double yoink, which they kind of feed each other for how powerful they are. You know, like, they enhance each other because it restricts and constricts your opponent's movement so much. Yeah, get a little boom action. That might be the case here, Scroggle. Seems to be the case. We're going to get a little boom action to help finish off the Barzilla here. Finally see the panic point go blue. Center panic point, that is. Obviously, we get the takedown up here. It's going to take a little bit for the Barzilla to go down, but still over 4,500 health on this heart. See, this is the stage where if the game were looking different, I would expect maybe a heart push from the other player, because now, hypothetically, if you send your entire team, it would be difficult to defend. Obviously not in this scenario, but as compared to what we've seen in other earlier games where people tried to heart rush, like, from turn 1. Get a little yoink action, and then all of a sudden, there goes Barzilla. Seems okay. Finish him off with the blue land. I do like Graylien. Don't get me wrong. I know I've kind of beat up on Graylien, and maybe I've given the impression that it's not worth it. It's just that to me, most of the time, like 90% of the time, I think Graylien is going to be an overcosted Miss Moffat or overcosted Octonauty. I think it's difficult to leverage it. Now, that being said, if you can yoink something because it's so much tankier, if you can, and it's also dimensional like Octonauty, so your opponent is going to regret killing it to some degree. Like, if this can survive, yeah, definitely, it's great. But I assume when you switch, it's dead. I assume it's just dead. In this case, it's survived to produce more value. So in that case, like that game, it was just busted. It looked fantastic. Like, that's a great showcase of Graylien in the last game we watched. But I think it's not uncommon to send in a spider, send in an Octonauty, yoink something, and then it dies. And that's often acceptable. So Graylien doing the same is not... It's only worse from the perspective that it costs you more keys to do so. And obviously a tractor makes it complex, but... Also showed you a game where I swapped a boss and erratic in the same game in Discord. Yes. I mean, it definitely happens. It's just, I don't know... Like, how many other games have you played Graylien and then it didn't do it? Or that didn't happen? Or it was just... I mean... Does the almost 2k base health on this make a significant difference? Like, what's Octonauty's base health? 1600. I think Moffat's like 13 to start. It might be 15. Like I said, I like Graylien. It's just a matter of... You gotta get... It's like every other phobia. You gotta get the use out of it when you do it. Alright, there's a bunch of stuff in chat. Do you think if Phobies is going to have a collaboration, it'll be good? I don't think it would be bad. I don't think it would be bad. The problem is... What would it collaborate with? You know, like, what are the things that Phobies would work with? Because I'm not concerned with, oh my god, there's this new skin in Phobies, or because it collaborated with whatever, and now the game is ruined because it looks stupid. Moffat is 13. Okay, so it is 13. That's what I was guessing at first. I'm not worried about you know, there being a guest Phobie. It's more, I kind of expect that Phobies would have to pay another organization to use their stuff rather than the other way around. Because I don't think Phobies is quite big enough to, you know, be able to have that business leverage. I don't think it's problematic. And it would all depend. It basically just depends. Inherently, it's not bad. It could be bad, depending on what it is. For example, if the agreement stipulates that it's a new Phobie or new Phobies, and they're just super broken. Okay, yeah, that's bad. Because the company's demanding, well, I want my, you know, if they, this won't happen, but like say they collaborated with Nintendo and they put Bowser and Mario in the game and they have to be the best characters. That would probably be an issue, you know what I mean? But if they collaborated with Mortal Kombat, again, not going to happen, or I wouldn't expect it to, but, you know, Scorpion and Sub-Zero in here and they're just regular Phobies, it would probably be more appropriate for like Goro and Havoc, you know, the more monstrous things. Maybe Ferator, that would be pretty cool. Then you could have a split Phobie like people always want. That would be pretty interesting. But I think it would be fine. It would just come down to the details of how they did it. They could do this big event. They could have some timed stuff. But yeah, I liked Ferator. Apparently they show up on, well, it's already out on digital, but on Tuesday the Blu-ray comes out for the next animated Mortal Kombat, and supposedly Ferator's in that, so I'm very curious what they are. I think you can watch it if, like, I could do a watch party through Prime, hypothetically. But it would only be for people who have Prime also, because you have to have Prime Video, which I think comes with Amazon Prime. I think they finally fixed the panic point showing the correct number of spikes under the heart when they're covered in mud. I don't remember. I mean, we've had a few of those scenarios come up, but I don't usually look at the spikes. I've kind of forgotten to look at it. So what else did I miss? He's got the Jill avatar from an upgraded Jack. Nice. The Moffat thing, fix the panic points. I think we're caught up. Triceratops dinosaur phobia is another push like Fetch. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I mean, you could reuse the Fetch model, hypothetically, or, well, maybe not reuse it. Maybe you can't really reuse it. Because you'd have to do a lot of animation work to turn this into a skeleton. Like, you might as well already make a new Phobie. You know what I mean? Fetch already looks like a Triceratops because of the spikes. Sort of, yeah. I could definitely see the confusion, so I think they would, if they made a Triceratops Phobie, like a skeletal Triceratops, it would have to be way more visually distinct from Fetch than what we're thinking. Which, if you remodeled the head to look like a Triceratops skull, it would. Because, yes, Fetch evokes the idea of a Triceratops, but it's not... I don't think you would confuse a Triceratops skeleton with Fetch on the board if they actually put the skeleton there. You know what I mean? You can trace over the animations, yes, but I'm not an artist, so I don't know exactly how much can be reused. So, for example, when it comes to toys, it's common that they will reuse molds and parts from molds, so like the hips or the shoulder joints or things like that, and then they just retool it because it's alright, I already have the CAD model designed, so then I can take this and move it to that. Either with minor modifications or literally cut and paste certain joints and then build the rest of it, because it's like, I don't have to recreate certain parts of the skeletal structure for the toy. And then when they do the mold, it's like, oh, well, we already have the mold for this, we just need to adjust it instead of making an entirely new mold. And that's part of how toy production works. I don't know how much you can do of that on the artist end. I mean, yes, you can start with the base sketch and then maybe you create the concept art faster, but I don't know if you can actually do the animations in a similar way, or do they have to be completely rebuilt, or I guess it depends on what the back end for Phobies is. I have no idea what that looks like. If somebody knows on the animation side, let me know down in the comments, YouTube. Maybe somebody out there watching one of these is an animation expert and knows, but I absolutely do not. I absolutely do not. So chat, we'll be back tomorrow. If you're not part of the Random Thoughts Discord, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, because I do need some suggestions for what spooky game we could play tomorrow. I could hit up Alien Isolation again. I don't know if it was great for the stream. I feel like it was lower energy than other stuff, because it was like I'm trying to read and understand everything that's going on. But I'm fine with playing again. I could do Warhammer Vermintide. There's other stuff. Chat saying Iron Lung, which I've never heard of, but I mean, they've suggested before. Hunt is pretty spooky. Yeah, I've heard that.
Step right up.
But we'll see. We'll see. Let me know in Discord. Throw stuff in general or whatever, but hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit up the Discord. Come by the live stream. Links for both are in the description. Of course, likes and subscribes. But that is going to do it for tonight. I do need to get some sleep. Got a bunch of real life stuff going on this week. Got a bunch of things that we got to do. So for now, as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.